Opposition Leader Vincent Tarzia, welcome.
Good afternoon, Rory.
To paraphrase your predecessor David Speirs, he says there's been a level of shambolicness about your first few weeks as leader. Is he right?
No, I wouldn't agree with that at all. I had a really good chat to David Speirs last night. It was a really productive discussion, and I'm glad to hear that David's going to stay in the party. And of course, we'll find a role for David to play. And of course,
why is he in your cabinet, your shadow cabinet?
Well, look, these things are always challenging, right? But I had a really good discussion with David. We've got lots of people that want to be in the shadow cabinet, and there's a very valuable role for David to play, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him down the track to explore that further.
With that in mind, though, do you regret not putting him into your shadow cabinet straight away?
No, I wouldn't regret that. We've certainly had some discussions with David, both before the reshuffle and also afterwards. And look, David's gone away. He's, I think, at a very good place at the moment.
Is your relationship fractured at the moment?
No, I wouldn't say so. Look, these things are challenging. Every time there's a change in leadership, these things are very challenging. But I still consider David Speirs a friend. We were elected on the same day. We were pre-selected on the same weekend. He's a talented guy.
I don't get the sense that friendship's mutual at the moment.
Well, look, my door's always open for David. I've made that really clear. I know these things are being challenging, but my door's always open, and I've certainly extended the olive branch to David. And look, I think we're much better served as politicians when we actually focus on the issues that South Australians really care about, and that's things like cost of living, fixing the ramping crisis, getting people's energy prices down, not when we actually look inward at political activity.
Speaking about looking inward, at the Liberal AGM last month, you said that there was a need for unity within the party. Why are you the leader to deliver that unity?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think what I was making the point of, we heard from John Howard, who often spoke about, the broad church in the party. I think as leader of the party, it's a fundamental role in making sure that you can bring together the various pockets that exist within the party. Of course, you've got the more progressive pocket, and then you've also got the conservative pocket. So I think in the leadership ballot, you saw that there was support from all corners of the party. I want to make sure that I'm inclusive and collaborative and that we work together with all the various pockets of the party.
You mentioned the conservative side of the party. How would you respond to criticism that you are now beholden to that side of the party?
I just don't accept the premise of that question, one bit. I've got a very good relationship with those in the progressive wing in the party and, of course, those in the conservative
You're
wing
also
in the
not
party.
sitting here without the block of 9 votes in the leadership ballot, though, are you?
But, it was quite a comprehensive ballot in the end. It was 18 votes, so, it's a fair few more than the 9. So at the end of the day, you can see that there's a level of support that was right across the party.
What would you be doing differently today compared to what Labor is doing when it comes to handling the health system in South Australia?
Well, Labor said that they would fix the ramping crisis, and what they've done is they've taken a crisis and they've turned it into a disaster. So I think we would be much better than what the Labor Party are doing at the moment.
I'll just bring you back to the question though.
Sure.
What would you be doing differently now?
Well, I think we would do a whole range of things differently. Firstly, we'd actually be honest with the people of South Australia. Like in our view, Labor told the biggest political lie ever when they said that they would fix the ramping crisis.
But on a policy perspective, what would you be doing differently?
Well, I think there's a whole staged approach to that. Firstly, what we want to do is we want to be honest with the people of South Australians, which this government, this Labor government, has not done.
But what about policy?
Yeah. And secondly, what we want to do is we actually want to talk to clinicians. I think there's a whole series of aspects to helping to fix the ramping crisis. Firstly, you've got to do much better in the regard of preventative health, for example. We know that systems aren't good enough at the moment in terms of flu vaccination, RSV vaccination. Secondly, I think you've got to do things like remove the GP payroll tax. At the moment, it's becoming harder and harder for people to see their GP. You're now seeing evidence of that. So we would, to answer your question, we would scrap that GP payroll tax.
But is that really going to shift the dial?
Look, I think these things, when you cumulatively add them up, I think they certainly will. In terms of mental health, it's been established that there's around a backlog of around $125 million when it comes to mental health patients that just can't get the access to the services that need. So there's no doubt that we need more dedicated services there. And of course, we've got workforce issues that we want to better address. We want to make sure that there are, for example, better incentives to make sure that we can get extra doctors and nurses, get GPs, retain those GPs, get them into the country.
David Speirs said that the back end of 2024 and 2025 would be policy heavy. We're now September. When are we going to start to see more policies from you?
Well, we announced the policy this week. It was in regards to radiation treatment on the Limestone Coast. That's a tangible policy. I went down to Mount Gambier, and a classic example there of where the Labor Party are just treating these people like second-class citizens. I mean, why should someone, for example, going through cancer...
Okay, so that's one regional policy for one regional city.
Yes.
You're 18 months out from election now, though, later.
Sure. Well, I've been in the job basically 3 weeks, and you've already seen one policy. And all I can say to the people of South Australia, there are plenty of policies that we have been working on and we'll continue to roll out. So in the space of 3 weeks, we've unveiled the Shadow Cabinet. There's been 2 regional trips. We've had an AGM, and now we've had a policy implemented and unveiled. So all I can say is I want to see an aggressive policy rollout. I think we've got to have some fights with the Labor Party, and I think you'll see a clear difference between the Labor Party and the Liberal Party. I've got no interest in being Labor light, let me tell you.
On the day you took over as leader, you said you can win the 2026 election. Do you stand by that?
Absolutely. It's going to be a monumental task, but we are in it to win it. We know it's going to be an uphill battle. We know it's going to be a challenge, but what you're seeing from this government at the moment is you're seeing an arrogant government, a government that is letting the people of South Australia down. They're letting them down when it comes to health, when it comes to energy, when it comes to cost of living. And we're going to spend the next 80 weeks or so making sure that we do everything we can to earn the trust of South Australians, win the hearts and minds of people in those seats, and we'll be doing everything possible to make sure that we can get into government in 2026.
Vincent Tarzia, thank you.
Thank you.